conflict minerals. Today also we will cover in the last session. Yeah, conflict minerals are minerals which are mined for these conflict areas, right? But companies need to know where the material is coming from. That's where this movement started, mainly for electronics goods and cars. That a lot of these minerals are mined from Africa, mostly Congo and other places, where under very hazardous condition these people are working, and many of them also children, women, pregnant women. So in very bad condition, they are mining those metals, and these mines are also illegal. And all this material is coming to a very formal industrial supply chain. So how this can happen, right? So then people started asking that how come the car companies do not know where the cobalt is coming, where the nickel is coming from, which goes into their car. So then they started to trace and find out. There is a book I will see. There is some economist in US also had studied, actually had gone there and studied under what conditions people mine. But it's also sitting outside. It's very easy to blame. For those people, this is a sense of livelihood. No? So we also say child labor. But child labor in our country also in some cases it is kind of mandatory. So they are doing some way. It's not that child labor doesn't exist in West, it occurs in some other form. There also teenage boys and girls work in supermarket quite well because they earn money. There it's not considered as child labor, it is considered as financial freedom. Here you are calling child labor simply they are working in fields. Their working condition are obviously better. Even if some 14, 15-year-old are working in supermarket or in restaurants, they also are entitled for leave, sick pay, all these things. So then the conditions are okay, good.
I had, yesterday while I was going through that Welspun case, again, these things trigger some thoughts.
Yes.
Although I am not a domain expert, but something which I had read struck me about, the Zara supply chain.
Yes.
They have actually reduced due to the changing fashion trends.
Yes.
So they have drastically cut down on
their overall portfolio. Yes.
Now, how, and when I actually saw that visual of the dumping part also, I contemplate like these, Zara, etc., these brands, how are they taking sustainability? Because there will be a lot of waste also for them because they are, into this fashion trends, etc., and they sell at a huge margin.
Yes.
And then there will be some waste or leftovers we don't sell. So
Zara is still always have been better than the others because their pricing is low. They have managed a tight control over their supply chain, and their thing was that they could launch in very short time. So their losses were anyway always lower than rest of the competition, who had a very long cycles. By the time they planned, it went in the market. The trend changed. That's why we always see 50% off, 70% off.
a case somewhere about this. So it is what, now how are they, I mean, their sustainability practices compared to the
Which is good. I have also not seen what Zara is doing exactly now in the last 5 years or so. They must be doing something. It's a good. Maybe we should check. So see what other global H&M. Since I lived in Scandinavia, I know. So they also promote them, but they are actually not very sustainable. They themselves, it came in the news big time that they collect from the consumers and they are actually sending it to landfill. So, but from Europe, lot of clothes anyway, used clothes go to second-hand kind of clothes go to Africa, and there is a market. So people are buying. So that's fine. Again, it is actually not been dumped. Somebody is wearing it, so it's fine. Also, you will be surprised. Here we don't do it at all. In very rich countries like Denmark, Sweden, Norway, it's a very common practice. They call it loppe market or flea market. So every summer they actually sell off some of their old stuff. Very rich people will sit on the road in the park. They will, whatever household goods or other things they want to sell, and they get new things. They will almost like, it's like a picnic kind of thing. People come and sell off their old stuff, and people buy, obviously. So maybe I like these clothes and I don't want to wear it. I have worn it for 5 years. Somebody is willing to wear it, they will sell. There is no status or this kind of consciousness. So in a society itself, they recycle a lot.
that again reminds me of an old practice which was much prevalent earlier, but I see, I mean, although it has reduced,
Yes.
you know, you are, but I mean, old clothes against which you get stainless steel.
Yes, yes,
utensils.
yes. So those people used to come, right? So
So,
this.
so that is all. I mean, going back to the
Ah.
circular economy and these
Yes.
things,
Ah.
old practice again.
Yes. Other things which I think can be done in India, I have not seen much. In UK, they don't have this kind of second-hand markets, but there are charity shops. So these Red Cross or other many, there are hundreds of different kinds of charities which work in UK. There also you can donate your old stuff. It's not just clothes, books, everything they
That is
take.
something which has
And
been
they
done.
sell at very almost throwaway price like
For
£1,
example,
£2.
our institute also, they have those,
Ah.
societies who do this kind of
Yeah.
donation drive every quarter or so, or something like
But
that.
this can easily be done, right? Clothes have to be reasonably good condition. Books also, obviously not torn books. Many other things can be sold, right?
That
They
they
should be.
check at that, source point only.
Yes.
Before and then they, that SRC we call it, social responsibility.
Yes. Yeah.
So regarding apparel, there is an informal chain, I would say, after these big fat weddings. Those dresses are being resold. I mean, there are takers, or maybe another group at a next wedding. This
Yes.
does happen.
Yes.
And one or two shops are there in Kolkata, I have seen. They have come up with this, that these are the ones which are being used
Oh,
once or twice, and then again they are being sold in very good condition. They are taking those measures to bring them back to the as new condition and selling it to
Yeah.
But
So-
it's kind of a very close one, because just to address to the wedding.
Yeah, but even that can be a business now and an online platform, right? Yes.
Sir, you just mentioned the flea markets of Europe and the first world countries. Sir, there are garage sales happening in India also, but I think India is so huge.
Huge, yes.
So there
Not
are
so
these
easily visible.
Instagram pages I have seen. I have not been active on Instagram and Facebook for a very long time, but when I used to be there and active on Instagram, I used to see this Instagram pages where thrifting is very popular and it's catching up, sir.
Okay.
And also, I am from Kolkata, so I know that in Goriahat and Newmarket, there are these stalls, huge, like on both sides of the streets, where old thrifted clothes, I don't know from which part of the world they come from, but affordable. First world, first world. Even I
Okay.
had that idea that very affordable. 250 in 250 rupees you get an denim jacket.
Okay.
I think it's readily.
Yes, okay, that's fine. Then, but it has to be possibly scaled up and more organized way it has to be done. As I say,
And other cities also, sir, I have not seen. Only in Mumbai I have seen.
Mumbai,
There is
yes,
again-
always had been, always had been. Previously, now when we were young, their hostesses used to bring. Previously, in our area, there used to be one air hostess, and here in India, and she used to bring all this half smuggled or whatever. So she used to sell a lot of those stuff. But this has to be organized now and possibly at a scale. So maybe there is a business opportunity there, also kind of a platform for doing such things. So it can be done at a scale. So there is a demand. Clearly, in our country, there will be demand. Also, I have seen. In UK, in our cases also now people are wearing for graduation, for convocation, a lot of kurtas and different things, and so nobody actually buys those things. Those are all kind of used for that day and then given back. So they buy. Who will buy a formal suit and everything just for a day, right? So the UK students also do this. Another thing I have seen which is not very ethical. UK has a very strange practice that when you buy something, you can return within kind of 1 month. There obviously the Asians will exploit
Asians
it.
only exploit
They will, students will buy these clothes before interviews or whatever, wear it, wash it, clean it again and give it within 1 month again, because they will say, oh, this didn't fit.
It is good that they wash and give it back. Do you know IRCTC blankets? What is the frequency of their washing? Anyone can guess? They don't do it. I mean, like, if you are traveling, then, the the SOP is like once a week.
Oh.
There are reasons also, sir. They are
Yeah.
very ill paid.
Ah.
I mean, they are so ill paid. Once I was traveling to Bangalore via Duronto, and I had a talk, and I could understand people. I mean, the towels and all, the purpose that it is given for, they use it for a different purpose. And if there is any damage, those casual workers, 1 day salary is being cut off, which is very, very bad because it is outsourced, and they have, and they are like they are working for their daily. I mean, wages, but this is a very bad practice which happens. So they also find out ways how to skip or reduce the cost
Yeah.
on their
So
part.
they will minimize handling. If any handling is creating some damage,
Yes.
they will not even touch it. No? So,
If any damage happens, they have to pay out of their pockets. So, like sometimes people used to take the bedsheet also with them, so they have to pay
Yes.
no, but this is again something that the service provider is responsible, not the employee. No?
That bed sheet is not so much of a problem, it's actually the towels.
Ah.
Okay? Because you will see that sometimes they don't give the towel with that, padding.
Ah.
Just the bed sheet and blanket. Then you have to ask for,
Yes.
the towels.
Your towels are possibly people are taking, and it's easy to get misplaced. Ah. Yes. Okay. Any other anecdotes? No.
One case I want to ask
Mike. Yes.
regarding Volkswagen clean diesel. That was a big case
Big,
which had
yeah.
happened,
Yes.
and I mean, we are talking about technology which is improvising, but they took the loopholes of the
Yes,
technology, and I mean, now also Volkswagen cars, if you go to the pollution testing, very few places they get tested, and the others they cannot even get that. So that means, I don't know, is it really pollution free that they are saying?
No, possibly not, because it was also an eye opener for the entire industry that somebody like them who has been so many years, it's an old company with a strong heritage, that they were also doing this, right? So obviously people lost jobs, CEOs and senior people.
So they
and
gave compensation, very
They
good,
gave
but they
the-
again came back into the business.
Yes.
So now also is that
now also there should be some checks and balance, but we don't know. Nothing has come out so openly that how to what extent they have improved those practices, right? But it cannot go on. We are assuming that possibly they would have realized, okay.
sir, any audit practices are there in Germany? I mean, their main plant which is there. So
everything should be audited, but in that case also they might have manipulated everything.
because it's a strange thing, sir, because within entire Kolkata there are only 2 pumps wherein this
Because
can be
their
pollution
products
is
are also,
tested.
because it's not easy to test. They were easy to test. That requires possibly certain specific equipments, right? They have made it so difficult that nobody can.
Yes.
So it was quite deliberate. So but that had resulted in a very strong reputation damage, even within Europe. The Volkswagen cars do not sell that much now, right?
Yes.
And older cars people have disposed of.
Even here, the sales are big
Yes.
after that.
Yeah. So this is a big trust issue.
Plus,
no?
there
So-
are so many competitors.
Yes, now this is anyway the industry is now bleeding. It's in very bad shape. So, but they will not be able to get away with this. Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know who'll answer what is happening inside. Dieselgate. Okay, so we will continue on this topic of circular economy. We have understood, I am not going through this, but normally we talk about 3 R's. So this paper, and then there are some other papers nowadays are talking about almost 9 possible pathways of circular economy, starting from almost refuse, that we won't do this, we won't continue with this product. So product, almost making the product redundant or abandoning its function. But then rethink was mainly about sharing economy, sharing the product. What we know more is reducing. So reducing the material content or improving the efficiency of material usage in the product. So this is about smart product use and manufacture. Then is extending lifespan, where most of the R's are coming. This is about reusing, repair, refurbishing, remanufacturing and repurpose. Most of the applications we will see are in these areas. So there is slight difference. So repair we all know, repairing it to so that it comes back to its original function. Reuse, again we are reusing this discarded product for some other to make it in good condition and fulfills its original function. Refurbish is kind of an old product which is upgraded. Remanufacture is parts are discarded product are used again for the same function, combined with something else and manufacturing a different product. Repurpose also we see slight difference between repurpose and reuse. So repurpose discarded products or its parts with a different function. It's not the same function. So it becomes a completely different kind of product with different functionality. And then recycling and recover. Now, how the big question for us, generally companies or in the supply chain, is also, as I have said, which of these options is best for us? Which of these options best for us at an individual material or a part level? Overall, companies have targets we want to recycle. Most companies are nowadays saying we want to use 100% recycled plastic, or we will change to 30% of this thing over by 2030. But actually finding which products or which materials to recycle, there is still a very big difficulty, because as I said yesterday, when the products are returned, we don't know the conditions. So we have to actually open it up, find out what is the best way, and it's still very skill driven, right? People, if there are skilled technicians, they will be able to find out what is the best way to do it. And that's why we are moving towards a more technology oriented way. If with an image, if we can reduce the time of that decision making in an efficient way, we will be able to recover and salvage more. So if more time is lost, then the value of the product will deteriorate very rapidly, right? So this is one of the big challenges there. So we'll look at a few examples, both from India as well as different parts of the world. But just to again understand, many of you will know this, the extent of the problem we are facing here. So obviously US ranks first in this, 34 billion kgs annually, the worst plastic waste. But India and China, because of the size of the countries and population, we are also high. So 26.3 billion for India. This data may be 2019-20. But all other countries are also, even the more Western world, Germany, UK, given their size, they are quite high. They are much smaller than India, but still their numbers are kind of 3 times less than India. But the only advantage they have is the waste management system is kind of well developed, at least over last 20 years. So they have good infrastructure to process, and this is not new. So they have done this for many years, this recycling using 3-bin approach. All our household, we have to ourselves segregate, put it in the different bins, meticulously every day the garbage containers will come and they will take it, and there is a specific spot they will take it for all of these things, and this is being processed, right? So now they are also asking different to segregate at our level, different types of plastic also they are asking us to segregate. So the thin ones, the shopping ones, they want us to put in a separate plastic bag, and there is a color coding for this. So all these things are happening. So that because of that infrastructure being available, they are able to process more, but they generate much more. For everything there is a plastic packaging there. So even cucumbers will come in nice plastic packaging there, because for shelf life. So food industry also is partly responsible. So they want to increase shelf life, and everything is kind of coming in a mechanized fashion there over long distances. So everything is packed in plastic, and that also helps because everything is barcoded, not like here in supermarkets, in everywhere everything is kind of barcoded, right? So that's why they need a medium to where they will put the sticker or the code. But it creates a lot of plastic waste. The level of plastic waste in food and grocery shopping is much higher. Here we don't pack everything, right? Every fruit, vegetable thing are not packed, but there everything comes packed in plastic. So we have to, at home when we bring those things, we have to segregate, put it and do it. But smaller also again the coastal areas, because of countries with long coastline, then the ocean is getting polluted. So, ocean plastic pollution out of the overall plastic pollution is also quite significant. More than 1000 rivers account for 80% of the global annual emissions, which again range between 0.8 billion to 2.7 billion kilograms. There you will see actually Philippines is highest. It is small country, but they have many islands, and they are the biggest polluters regarding ocean plastic waste. Again India, Malaysia, China, Indonesia, most of these Southeast Asian countries where the rivers and ocean is actually polluted with plastic. Then I will look at a few examples. Let us see if we, this is a company I worked with, I mean we interviewed as part of a paper. So, this they started doing this for textile. Since we are in the kind of textile theme, I thought this is a good time. So, she was a textile engineer and she wanted to do something. So, the entire business, they do not sell any normal textiles. So, everything is, sorry, is it closed everything? So, and they actually have big operations now in India. So, I think there is an office in Gurgaon, she mentioned. So, they also source lot from the Indian coastline, both in south and east, and these materials they process and then they convert into clothes. Mostly you can see jackets and coat linings or whatever, all those kinds of things. But since she is a textile engineer, she knows, she maintains the exact quality what is needed. So, they do all this processing themselves. Why I interviewed them was part of also using blockchain. So, I will again discuss, because many the retailers, they were asking why the price is not necessarily low, right. For the people think it is a recycled plastic we are using, so why the price is high. Is the mic not working? Slides have come, right? Yeah. So, then she had to prove that they are doing all this testing to really find out the right quality of plastic, the lot of processing is needed, and ensuring that this is the right grade of plastic they are used. So, that is why the price is high, but they had to fully demonstrate this entire process and traceability using blockchain, and that is why I do not know exactly what the price difference, but price is not like 20% or 50% of the original price of those jackets. That is because they are using recycled material, the price is reasonably high, but it is also high quality product and lot of processing is being used. Other thing to note here is these kind of companies are open to talk to you if you find out. So, I spend, that is why a lot of time to find out even global companies who are very innovative and they have India connections, right. So, it is not, and this lady is very open. So, if some of you are working on textile, she will be happy to talk, but you have to do the homework to find them out reach out to them, and then over some period of time they will be happy to talk. So, in COVID times, all of us were at home. I searched lot of different kinds of companies, and we managed to interview them. Obviously, we could not visit, but we could interview many of them, right? And they sent lot of material. So, it's not that they will and particularly now, if you say you are a researcher from a leading university in India, you are working on this topic, they will be willing, more than actually Indian companies, they will be willing. They all want to do business in India. If you invite them, they might also come. So, she might be visiting Gurgaon office, right? So, sometime we can actually, you may think of inviting if there are certain.
Sir, even Decathlon also, I mean, practices the same thing. I mean,
Hmm.
instead of fleece, it's written over there. It is
Yeah.
recycled plastic bottles
Yeah.
and recycled materials. Also, the same thing that they do.
Hmm.
It's the
But
same
they may, for Decathlon, they might not be doing themselves, right? So, they
Yeah,
might be
it
some,
is
I don't know.
also-
So, I don't know whether they might be also supplying to Decathlon, we don't know.
And
So,
the prices are very competitive.
okay. The other one I have told you many times, I really like this fishing filament, and this has a huge opportunity in India. I have not seen people doing this, you might have not seen this. So, this is they are recycling the fishing nets and the nylon they are converting to 3D printing filaments, and from that this boy, as part of his master's thesis project, he made buttons out of those things. So, and those buttons are all locally produced, right. So, it had a huge carbon footprint implications. The other similar company is Plastic Bank. You can also look at it. It's a Canada based, two Canadians, but their entire business is they studied that. So, they all collect from those locations, Philippines, Indonesia, Malaysia, all the plastic waste. Again they process, but this is mainly for FMCG companies, the shampoo bottles and others. So, most of the FMCG companies, if you now see, they are saying that by 2030 you want to use 100% recycled plastic in packaging. So, they have found out that niche opportunity. They are all of these big companies which have very high volumes of production, and they are saying all their packaging will be 100% recycled, but where will they get that recycled material, right? So, they need players like this who will then collect all these plastic bottles, PET bottles or different kinds of things, segregate, sort, process, and then provide this and ensure that it is 100% recycled. So, now some of these kind of companies have come up. This is also, you can imagine, it is a very difficult and complex process across the world. From very dirty places you are collecting, both from municipal waste as well as from river or ocean waste, then they are collecting. But the very good thing I liked is they are using the actual rag pickers, the pickers who are there, but they kind of, this is a very informal trade, very informal trade across the world, but they kind of formalize them. So, they give them uniform, they give them training, they actually bring it already a little bit segregated, then they are paid kind of online using a wallet, they can use this in supermarkets. So, their quality of life has improved significantly. So, there is also a social impact they could show, right. While they are actually recycling and there is an environmental impact they are processing, the lives of those people, if you go to their website, you will see. So, many of these people, their children could go to school. It is a huge difference for a rag picker, and this is there for all of these our countries. Many such people rely on this livelihood, but and previously they will be threatened by local gangs and all these things. Now they have kind of they have their employment, they have a kind of better purpose in life and quality.
So how is the petrochemical industry tackling this? Like if there are reduction in plastics. I mean, their finished products in different.
Cases.
Yes.
So
That I'm thinking from the other side.
Yes.
It's a threat to their,
Yes.
business.
so
But I don't know whether the numbers are still that significant to make a dent. They are so huge that yes, there is a fresh virgin material being used, but I think if you see, many of them are also moving, diversifying into kind of renewable. If you look at our oil and gas companies even in India, they are also trying to move into renewables, right. Not everybody, they realize their energy, they are an energy company, not necessarily they have to position themselves as a petroleum company anymore, right. So, I think that is one way some of these companies are doing, Plus they are also providing value added services, not
So
just
maybe looking for substitutes within
yes, yes. So they, I don't know. For example, this synthetic bio-based or cellulosic ethanol, for example. So,
that. Yeah.
so even those kind of things, plus more high value-added products, possibly they are making where the margins are higher and they will not bother so much on this. But I am not, have not studied petrochemical so much. I don't know. The other applications, some of you are aware, we were discussing yesterday. India also has different kinds of fruits, vegetables, and lot of fibrous fruits. So these any fiber, I didn't know, and maybe textile people know well. Literally, almost anything can be converted to another fiber or yarn, right? So it's orange peels. There is an Italian company, so they make this kind of textile products from orange peels, right? And then the other one, the Q milk, is from Germany. So they make from this waste milk, again they process it to make it yarn like this. So this is possible and the technology exists, but in our cases I think many kind of applications, different agricultural produce and waste which we have can be potentially converted to not just fiber but many other kinds of products. Yeah. Now I was looking at what is happening. I think still, I mean, there are a lot of good work happening, I must say. Some at the government level, some obviously individual entrepreneurs and small startups. But I could see at least there are some now processing facilities being coming up quite extensively. So Haryana, it seems they have a large cloth recycling cluster. Anybody from Haryana know this? Can tell a little more? No, I don't know. So there is in Panipat, it seems they have the largest cloth recycling center. Huh. Good to see. So UP, I don't know where it is in UP exactly, but there is a Indo-German Technical Cooperation on marine litter ecosystem. Why in UP marine litter also I don't know. Somebody again, the local politician has made it, set it up there. There is no marine there, but who is going to, so that means all the things are going, whatever they are studying is also coming from the coastal area traveling all the way to UP. Indore has some waste processing CNG plant. Bangalore has wastewater. There are a lot of things, and Kochi Metro has done something for the construction materials. There are also these kind of these Indian companies. Now there are new. You might have seen this Art Tatva is good. So they are taking from all the ceramic waste, all the kitchen, bathroom discarded materials. Now they are making into ceramic products, mugs, and so on. This one was the one I was saying, EcoCurry. So they do it all from the plastic waste, mostly all these single-use chips packets and others. They are making into different kinds of products, card holder, table mats, many bags. You can see their website. I think they are doing very well. This one was old. I don't know what is the status now. There was some controversy around this, and I have seen even West Bengal government has started something on these lines. So in Damdam or Nagarbajar, there is a facility now where they take all the flowers and they process into dhoop and agarbatti sticks. So this was the earlier one, but there is a patent issue. Somebody said that they already had this process and there was some legal things going on. But the idea is obviously very good. This is again a huge waste. All the flower waste which goes to temples mostly and then to the rivers. So in Kanpur they collect this and they use the women self-help group and they produce, make this mostly agarbattis but many other kinds of products, right? Temple flower waste. But this is from an operations perspective, this is a very interesting logistical supply chain network design. There is a perishability issue. Yeah, this one we have talked. Then there are also construction, this part I think we have seen many examples also in India now. Lot of things are now being used in roads which are from recycled materials, different industrial waste for both pavements and roads, highways, etc. Recycle X is a company who is doing this. This is one repurposed one. So, this is coconut leaves repurposed to drinking straws and pens. So, this is sunbird straws. Interesting. So, people are having ideas in India, a lot of good ideas, and the source of raw material is very kind of unique to India. These are the kind of things we should do which nobody else can do, right. These are things which are abundantly available in India. So sunbird straws have done some of these things. This is global remanufacturing. I have not seen kind of large Indian manufacturers doing this, but this Caterpillar in US, so they have a remanufacturing service for many years, or more than 20 years. So their products, as you know, is very capital intensive. These are large engines in construction equipment vehicles, and the vehicle will be size of this room, so the engine itself is big. So and for such things they very quickly realized that it's very difficult to replace a completely new engine for the customer. So remanufacture whatever old engines are coming back, they will refurbish or they will take parts out, and this is a big business for them. The reman services is a big business for Caterpillar. Plus this kind of, since in the next session we will talk about social entrepreneurship. So this is again one thing, and let's see if you can hear the video here. So Waste Warriors is a program. They have many things. If you go to their website, you can see. We will see what they are doing here again in terms of Ganga waste. So you can see all of these videos. They are actually quite educative. I am sure some good work is done. This one is the plastic waste in Ganga.
गंगा एक पवित्र नदी, आस्था और पवित्रता का प्रतीक। इसका पानी अनगिनत भारतीयों के लिए जीवन का एक सतत स्रोत है। गंगा हरिद्वार और ऋषिकेश में हिमालय की तलहटी से मिलती है और भारत और दुनिया के लाखों लोग यहाँ आते हैं। हर कदम पर लोग अपने विश्वास को साझा करते हैं, बेहतर भविष्य के लिए प्रार्थना करते हैं। घाटों से लेकर सड़कों तक यही गंगा की संपन्न संस्कृति है। ये दोनों शहर दिन प्रतिदिन बढ़ते तो जा रहे हैं, मगर इनके साथ साथ एक बड़ी चुनौती भी बढ़ती जा रही है। हरिद्वार और ऋषिकेश में बढ़ती जनसंख्या के साथ साथ हर साल लाखों दर्शनार्थियों और श्रद्धालुओं के आगमन से हरिद्वार और ऋषिकेश में लाखों टन प्लास्टिक कचरा भर रहा है। ये केवल उन लोगों और जानवरों के लिए एक समस्या नहीं जो यहाँ रहते हैं, बल्कि उन लोगों के लिए भी एक मुद्दा है जो हमारे शहरों को साफ रखने में मदद करते हैं। जो कचरा उठाया नहीं जा सकता वह हमारी गंगा नदी में बह जाता है। ये पवित्र नदी दुनिया की सबसे बड़ी नदियों में से एक है और हर दिन प्लास्टिक से भर रही है। हमें रोकने का प्रयास करना होगा और साथ मिलकर करना होगा। मेरी गंगा मेरी जिम्मेदारी। अविरल का लक्ष्य गंगा में जाने वाले प्लास्टिक कचरे को कम करना है। हम हरिद्वार और ऋषिकेश के लोगों को प्लास्टिक कचरे के प्रबंधन के लिए एक सतत दृष्टिकोण अपनाने में मदद करेंगे। हरिद्वार और ऋषिकेश के नगर निगमों के साथ अविरल इन शहरों में हजारों परिवारों और परिदर्शक के कचरे के बारे में सोचने के तरीके को बदलने के मिशन पर है। उनके डस्टबिन से लेकर गंगा के किनारे तक परिवर्तन लाने में तत्पर है। अविरल जिम्मेदार नागरिकों के साथ काम करने में भरोसा रखता है। इस परियोजना के माध्यम से हम ये सुनिश्चित करेंगे कि साथ मिलकर गंगा में प्लास्टिक के कचरे को कैसे कम किया जा सकता है। ये प्रोजेक्ट सफाई कर्मचारियों और कचरा प्रबंधन समाधानों के माध्यम से सक्रिय नगर निगमों के साथ काम करने में सक्षम है। घरों से कचरा संग्रह केंद्रों तक यही प्लास्टिक का भविष्य है। ये परिवर्तन का एक चक्र है। आइए साथ मिलकर काम करें, हरिद्वार और ऋषिकेश में स्वच्छ और सुंदर गंगा बनाने की ओर एक कदम बढ़ाएं।
Because do you have any insights of what is happening maybe in Himachal or Uttarakhand on?
Few organization like ACC I have visited personally. What they are doing as part of maybe they are also highlighting this as their CSR activities. They have set up this huge supply chain network in and around area. I think more than 100 kilometer, and then they are collecting all the waste, and they are burning this waste to very high temperature, and they are converting this energy into to run their plants. So this is one initiative by ACC that is in somewhere near Mandi district. So that is one thing. Other is I have seen in Hoshiarpur we have two big plants related to this spinning and weaving industry. So what they are doing, they are collecting the sugar cane after from these sugar mills, whatever the waste they are generating, and that they are also converting the electricity. So earlier they were hugely dependent on the local power supply and then power cuts and all that. Now they are not only fulfilling their requirements, but they are supplying to their communities as well. So that is a few things I have seen. I'm not sure about the one you were talking about in Panipat and that. So that I have not visited, but these two I have visited personally as part of my research. So we did one brainstorming session with ACC, that factory also. So there they highlighted how they are doing this. But this is I think great initiative because see. At the same time, they are also targeting as their CSR activity because here in Rourkela also, if you go, this is beautiful city Rourkela, and totally maintained by SAIL, Steel Authority of India Limited, and so there the kind of setup they have, they are collecting the waste daily. Not only before doing this, they were purchasing fertilizers for developing gardens in and around. So that was cost to MC. So after that they started recycling and converting into this fertilizer also, and they are collecting wet waste and dry waste. So like I was telling on the very first day in my session that I worked with those people, Rourkela Municipal Commissioner, and we published after that research. And they have built one plastic road. So that plastic road is also made up of this waste only. And surprisingly, the age of that plastic road is longer than the metallic road we are using. So these the kind of initiative which now under Smart City Mission, I believe many are working towards that. Like this movement. Otherwise also, if you talk about, we have that very traditional kind of classification of the waste, yellow, red, black, blue. And now after that we simplified the process because this is the problem is who will collect in different dustbin. Collection is a big problem. So now if we'll convert it only in a dry and wet waste, maybe somewhere the households will also help us to support in that way. But yes, then we need to educate the people also. That is the first thing. We have set up the dustbin everywhere, but then it's very difficult, challenging task to complete that. And then to maintain the continuity of this system is also challenging. But SAIL has done beautifully in Rourkela. And this Rourkela is beautiful city they have maintained. Only few area, maybe less than 10% of the area, but otherwise they have got beautiful.
पहले तो सर कितना दिन पहले की बात करें, लेकिन अब प्रेजेंट टाइम पे सर शुगर मिल वेस्टर्न यूपी में तो लार्ज क्वांटिटी पे शुगर का ये जो भी है, तो वहाँ पे शुगर वेस्ट वो लेके सीएनजी में कन्वर्ट लगभग आप हर 1 किलोमीटर पे इस तरीके जो सर प्लांट बता रहे हैं आप देखें, बुलंदशहर है, मेरठ रीजन है और शामली, इन सब जगह पे लगभग बड़े स्केल पे इस तरीके का प्रोडक्शन सीएनजी प्रोडक्शन, और जब से ये गवर्नमेंट हेल्प भी कर रही है इस चीज़ों में.
Which is good. So that thing is needed. If it is happening in scale, it's not in India's context. It should happen in scale, not just in few places. But I mean, Jamshedpur and Rourkela, these are examples are corporates, they are almost owning the city and they are managing. But how can we do it in the rest of the country where otherwise we have to tell the biggest employers there to kind of also support as part of their CSR, right?
No, as I said earlier, that like I was mentioning about sale. So we had this CSR thing much before.
Yeah, much because
because that was a part of our mission.
Yes.
Social responsibility,
Hmm.
keeping the employees happy. So if you are, in sometimes these townships are very small. So even quality education is also required for the children. So they set up schools.
Everything there inside.
Hospitals. Okay, whatever, so that you are comfortable, you can concentrate on work and your family is also taken care of.
Yes.
You can't imagine what you mentioned about Rourkela, Bhilai, all these are very planned.
Yes.
But even if you go to the mines area, like there are some mines like Kiripur, Meghalpur in South Jharkhand, Telangana, Odisha, who are there. So even there they have Kendriya Vidyalayas. Even there they take care of the community. So that is there in their blood. And even if you go to Jamshedpur, so you will see distinctly when you enter Jamshedpur, there are two sides of this. One is maintained by Tatas, and the other is there. So that is a stark kind of any layman can actually
know about it.
Yes.
But as I said that again there are very responsible people who are there, and these kind of measures they have been taking long time, and now also they are practicing this sustainability is a major kind of
Maybe in one of these PPP private partnership based models may work, because wherever corporates are involved, these kind of big corporations, they are able to do much better because they don't have those other constraints, right?
Moreover, they are also getting support from the government. They are into
Yes.
this kind of business. So then they are getting huge concession in the tariffs also.
Yes, yes,
That is also one of the points.
yes.
And those hospitals and those schools are not only for their employees.
Ah.
I have seen the hospital they have built in Rourkela. It's a big hospital. They are, I know, struggling for getting doctors to use those equipments, but yes, that facility they have set up is mind blowing. So even government hospitals nowhere close to those facilities. So that is kind of initiative is coming from there. But then again, the thing is, we have all these schemes, movement by campaigns by Indian government also. But then what I believe personally is this can only happen once the very first point is the public. So recycling will come later on. First, the collection is very important. Whether we are able to collect the waste or not. So if they are burning in their home only and or in the streets only, so then the very purpose is, I think.
So either there are multiple options. One is these social entrepreneurs, one is large companies. The others which I see, which is probably not working that well here, is in Western world there are these kind of research projects which are created, which by default have to be multidisciplinary, right? People from engineering, social science. For this kind of problem, we need people with background in plastic and textile on the engineering side, some social science people who will actually not just business, but people can talk, those kind of ethnographic studies, and this is very common in Europe and to some extent also in UK. Many such projects are funded, and you are not supposed to do it in your entire country. You take your local area and do these projects, very in-depth field studies, and make some interventions and show results. 3 years, 5 years, you will get a project, quite a good amount of money, and local universities, but multidisciplinary team has to be formed. They fund even full PhDs sometimes. PhDs will work on this, and then you can see the results. No? But sometimes madam will also say that, okay, you have done this, how to follow it up and actually implement is still difficult, but you can show that what is possible, what is the real impact, what needs to be done, and then but with these results, if the local administration, the local they are also satisfied, they might be able to follow it up and do it. But now this has to be done at that level, I think, at a very local level.
So after we published that what they were doing at Rourkela, so then because of that COVID-19 outbreak, so you just imagine whatever waste we were generating, now that waste is now coming in large quantity. So the capacities are still limited. The transportation capacities, storage, and then disposal, those things were there. So then again we had this project with the RMC, and they said we need to identify some maybe mobile locations, or maybe some alternative location where we can treat this extra waste coming out of households, because now recycling and all those directly will be dangerous, maybe dangerous, because of this now infection is there all around. So then this was part of our study. We identified 2 or 3 locations where maybe alternatively we can go. We decided the locations for setting up foreign field hospital, so that if crowd will come in numbers, so how we can handle that. And not only at that time the waste was only coming from hospitals. We have vaccine center, from there also so much waste we were generating. So that how to channelize that. So that so that is means now it's not only the management perspective will come into picture. You need to define the routing system also, how we can best way. We need to take care of the cost as well. So all those people will come together, only then it will work. I think interdisciplinary only will work. Otherwise, talking only about the idea or only the end part commercialization, in between we don't have that to show.
But even in these projects, it is common sometimes to involve the startups.
Yes.
They will work with you, but you are essentially doing the research which will also help them. So they take then and commercialize.
Yes.
So ideally, that there has to be a very all different stakeholders have to be involved, and government officials should also be involved. They should be invited, and they should know what is happening in the project.
Probably that may be the one of the reasons why they now Indian government has come up with the FTBIs, business incubation centers at HEIs. So now we have in-house our entrepreneurs. So if we have some problem, we can collaborate with them. Now they have allowed faculty also to be part of that startup. We can be officially we can be part of that startup. We can work with the students. If we have some idea, they can develop the technology, and this is how we can set up the system. So that ecosystem we are developing. But yes, that effort. I don't know about that, but now it is done now.
More formalized, yes.
Sir, more so like if I just say the new NEP system which has come in, it is actually giving rise to that multidisciplinary part.
Yes.
But then now again, few days back, there was minimum requirements for assistant professors and all, wherein this incubator, the professor, one of the points that he must have, that is he can be one of the educators in the startups and incubator system. This is kind of a must have now. So it's like coming the other way around, that you have to do it. So now they will also go out in search of that. Previously it was like, if I only want it, then only I'll go ahead and in search of these startups.
There would have been
But now it's a
problems
must.
to do that. Others will become jealous if you do. Now everybody is doing it.
Exactly.
Sir also mentioned about the plastic waste.
Yes.
How we use the plastic waste to prepare construction of the road. So basically, there was a startup based in Karnataka named KK Plastic.
Okay.
So they basically what they do, they have their patent where they basically convert the plastic waste to asphalt, and they again they converted into plastic based bituminous were basically used in construction of road. So they probably construct more than 1,000 kilometers of road in Karnataka.
Okay.
So it's a very successful startup we can consider.
Yeah, and that has been a very useful case. Many places I have seen in India now this has been done, right? This is another little bit related. So they have started in garbage cafe. So people who are bringing the waste, they are giving food. So they get. So this is more of a social thing. But I also wanted to talk. Anybody knows this person? He is from Holland. He is a very young person. He actually started. You can see this is a company called Ocean Cleanup. He is a CEO now, but at 14 years of age he started this. So he went on vacation to some places and he saw all this plastic waste in the beaches and ocean. And now he has a big company. Still it is kind of largely social, run through endowments and funds. But let's see, the videos are amazing. What he has been doing in ocean, his own technology, fully developed by him with a small team. And now they are mostly working on the rivers. I don't know whether India has invited him or not, but he should do. Because there is no point in also sometimes reinventing the wheel. So if these people are already there, the Pacific Garbage Pack also they are working. Let's see if there are some videos.
At the Ocean Cleanup, our mission is to rid the world's oceans of plastic, and part of that is to prevent more plastic from reaching the oceans. With our research, we found that rivers are the arteries that carry the plastic from land to sea. And what we found is that just 1% of rivers is responsible for almost 80% of all the plastic going to the ocean. So if we stop the plastic there, we have a really good shot, I think, at rapidly stopping more plastic from going to the ocean. So with our interceptors, which we put into the mouth of the heaviest polluting rivers in the world, we hope to catch the plastic before it becomes ocean plastic. Now, 1% of rivers sounds easy. In a way, it's good news, but on the other hand, it's still 1,000 rivers. So that's a large number, and we want to do this in a matter of years. So, of course, on one hand, it's really important that we have solutions that are scalable, that we can just build many of in series. Of course, that's what's really ingrained in the philosophy of these interceptors. But at the same time, we've also come to learn that every river is different. As one of my colleagues always likes to say, if you've seen one river, you've seen one river. If you think about things like tidal differences, current speeds, the width of rivers, the depth, are there vessels or not, what kind of vessel traffic, do you have water hyacinths, so these green plants like you see in this river or not? So there's all these different variables, and ultimately if we want to be effective at closing the tap, we need to always be able to have an effective solution for every one of these 1,000 rivers. We need to have the right solution for the right river. And that's why we have this portfolio of different kinds of interceptors, where we can always choose the right solution for each of these different set of circumstances. So besides the Interceptor Original, we also have the Interceptor Barriers combined with an Interceptor Tender, which is a mobile solution, so you can service different rivers. For any river, for any country where we need to deploy, we need to set up consortia of partners to make this a success. So you need the government relations, in terms of permitting, etc. You need an operator to run these machines. You need a waste management partner to make sure that the waste collected is properly disposed of. So you can have this sort of network of partners around it. So helping to create a buzz in the country, help to secure the right partners, I think that can tremendously accelerate that process to really deploy interceptors at a high rate. When I look at our team, I see a group of people that is extremely dedicated and has this mindset of, okay, we might not have figured everything out, but we'll find out along the way. We'll learn by doing, because ultimately these things may be difficult, but the ocean doesn't care whether we find it difficult. This needs to be done, and eventually we'll find a way.
So do have a look. They have many videos. They will see what they are doing for the Pacific garbage patch as well as for all these different rivers. So many different videos are there. Yeah, use the mic.
So if we talk about the Indian scenario, the Indian rivers, if we talk about the Indian river systems, the Indian river ecosystem is very different in the way that we pollute it in a very different way. The waste that we have seen here are very different in the sense that people do not actually throw or dump skeletons of gods and goddesses in rivers, and people do not actually pollute it in a religious way and then tell that, okay, we were just following our religion and no one can say anything. I just read a thing that a few days ago that really touched me, that spirituality is also understanding that you cannot just worship your own God, but you also have to respect everything around you, and that also includes nature. That also includes your fellow beings, not in a very non-anthropocentric way. It also includes the animals.
Yes.
So, and plants, of course. So I'm just wondering that how will this work in an Indian context? For example, I'll just cite an example. We have a small pond here near the Soupdup area in IIT Kharagpur, and I am the member of the Animal Welfare Association. So I usually go and feed the fishes there. So after the pujas, after the Durga Puja break, after the Kali Puja Diwali break, the pond is horribly dirty, and Durga Puja and Kali Puja usually comes after the monsoon.
Yeah.
Yes, also after the Chhat. Yes, right. So, and these festivals usually come after the monsoon. So after the monsoon, the pond looks beautiful. But usually after this festivals, it's horrible how the pond looks. And me and my fellow members of the association, we have often wondered that students do not usually perform pujas here.
Yeah.
The pujas are always
Done by the local community.
staffs, professors. So I mean, it's actually distressing, the least, to say that how the pond is, polluted. So I was wondering if there's a solution like this in the Indian context of cleaning the rivers, the ponds, or the ocean also in many cases.
So these people, they are not working in the rivers in Western Europe. They are working the most dirtiest rivers they have chosen, and one by one they are doing. So that's why one by one they have come up with different solutions. Mostly they are working in the Mekong and in Malaysian rivers right now, I guess. They are also flower waste, etc. might be there. So I think if they come, they might be able to see something and come up with solutions, right? But what I have seen in Hyderabad, I think Hussain Sagar Lake and in some place, this is bad, but at least they have started monitoring now.
Yes,
First is also monitor. Is anybody, IIT can at least monitor, no? The technology is now available. What is the pollutant level? What are the different pollutants which are doing? Any case, we all say without measurement, we don't know. So let's start even understanding and to make this point clear to the community that this simple act, this is the level of maybe harmful paints or pigments you are putting, that is creating that. So I think always that awareness building again should come with some data, with some benefit, and then slowly that one part is people's awareness, and that might result in something. The other is the technological solution of actual cleanup, and both are possible. It's not that nothing can be done, right? At least in this, since this is within IIT, this should be possible to monitor that level. But again, who will do it, which department, I don't know. It will go in loops for some years, but
Sir, again, if I give you, if I take the example from her,
She's talking about a lake. Now, if I talk about Ganga, especially near Kolkata, that Babughat area, municipal corporation had taken the initiative of cleaning up the waste which comes after the pujas and everything. Very good. They always say that you cannot, take off everything, all the flower garlands and everything, and keep it aside. Only the figure would be immersed in the water. This is done. Now, these are very few moments, every puja that we are seeing. That waste is being segregated and kept aside. Very good. But every day
Day to day.
Babughat, it's kind of a recreation place. People go over there and they have that chai and coffee, everything, sir. In the morning, if you go, when we go for morning walks, they are picking up the waste, they are putting in the bins and everything, and where are they discarding? Just outside. Just taking it from here and releasing in the river again. So what is happening, we really don't know. Even, sir, we had in our area, ward number 46, they, one day they all came from the municipality. They came to us to, educate us regarding the dry waste, wet waste and all those. Segregation, so you have to segregate it likewise. And they said that we will give you bins according to that. When actually the bins came, it was just one bin. And that too without any clear notification. Maybe, 5 minutes of a talk, we understood, we heard, and it gone. They never made another initiative to give a leaflet wherein the segregation is to be done. And even where we will be doing in 3 different, that 3 was also not that, it reduced to 1. And we can understand it's always the middlemen who are there, which
Some
is...
contractors, they have
Yes.
not delivered. Other
And
bills
even for the contractors also, sir, there is another story from their end. When you are talking to them, they are saying that they are taking tenders and obviously
where
a
the
part of
money
the
is
money
going.
is going. So we really don't know whom to trust and where to start and where to end.
Yeah, it's very different.
They are doing a lot of ad hoc measures. There is no scientific, kind of thing. That segregation. Like I tell you, like she's right. One unique feature of our, water waste is, like she mentioned about religious customs, etc. And we know like Durga Puja immersion, you have to immerse those things. What we have to actually look at is, if you look at the idols also, so clay is okay, but there are some paints and etc. which also
Yes.
cause actually lot of more
lot of
yeah,
harm, that's
like
what I
heavy metals are there and etc. So even if you pick it up or there are
Yes. So, it has to happen at the design
at
stage,
that,
and that
at
is a
that-
very big challenge.
So
educating them.
you have to think these people. That's what I'm saying, na, that the governance is a very important part, and you have to actually go back and root cause analysis, or why is it happening. It's just not like you are.
Who is going to build
Huh.
that cat? This is also so much social issues. If something you're now in Kumartuli, if you go and say you have to use different kinds of paint, what the cost will increase, nobody is going to take those tough decisions. No?
In the traditional days, they used the herbal colors only.
Yes,
But
yes.
because of the
Cost.
rain and everything, they wanted the paint to be there, not
Yeah.
to be washed
Washed
off.
away.
So they opted for the chemicals, and now when they are immersing, we can see the chemical is being split on the water.
Yeah.
Totally.
Mumbai is doing a really unique thing. After Ganesh Chaturthi, the Ganpati idols used to be immersed in the ocean. And to stop that and to stop the really harmful paint from getting mixed in the water, they have started building really small pools, like children's pools kind of things. And they immerse the Ganpati statue in that water. And they have also encouraged, even I think celebrity parents also are encouraging their kids to build their own Ganpatis. And it's also a holistic activity for the whole family. That the whole family comes to build the idol, and then that idol is only worshipped in the house. So I think Mumbai is coming up with a always a step ahead, I think, of us.
These best practices, like India is such a vast and diverse country, And that madam was saying that, you have literally, within the Indian subcontinent,
Almost
you
every-
can adopt best practices, but it is the mindset,
Change.
Like I give you that example, Karnataka mein they have already used blockchain for land deeds
registration. That's very
registration.
common,
Why
yeah.
can't the others do it?
Southern states always, Telangana and Karnataka, yes, they have done lot of things. Okay. It's for us to getting inspired, we cannot solve all the problem. You asked e-waste, I tried to find out something, again I don't know a lot about it, but I also read. So again the opportunities are huge, only 83% of this, 83% is not collected, only 17% of the e-waste globally is collected. So it's a huge opportunity. And the numbers are kind of quite staggering. So 350 million tons of unrecycled e-waste, 70% of all the toxic waste, and 50 tons of mercury are lost every year through the e-waste. But if you see again, within Europe also there is a huge variation. But see, lot of countries on average itself is more than kind of 11-12 kg per inhabitant. So every person every year is kind of bringing in 12 kg. That means there is a formal process of collecting, as I was saying. Austria is highest in this. And then the government also comes up with very stringent things. Right? So one thing which we always wondered is these chargers. So now in Europe they will have this USB Type C charger, which will be common for everything, all electric devices by end of 24 possibly happened, and for laptops it will come in 26. Plus this right to repair thing has come up, and this is mandated. So companies, whoever is selling, they will require the sellers to repair the products unless it is cheaper to replace them. So they have to repair. You have to take back to the company and they have to repair it at whatever cost, and that unless it is, so that means they are forcing the companies to repair the products, unless the product is even cheaper that repair, they have to actually do it. And beyond the guarantee, it will provide rights to make repairs easier and cheaper. So this is also putting lot of pressure on companies, no doubt. But European Union in this kind of sense, they are very stringent and ahead. Nobody can bend the rules possibly.
I would like to make a point here, sir. In India, if you adopt this, I can tell you for sure that they will do that, but give you a quotation for repair, which will make you think twice whether it is feasible to go in for repair or whether to buy it outright.
Right now, even in Europe, everywhere the repair is very costly. Actually, much costly. So this will be very difficult for companies to do, because any service is very costly in the developed world. It's
The reason may be because now you see we have moved to that era where everything is coming so compact. Trillion components on small chip.
It's very
And
difficult.
then you just imagine how we can repair that.
So that as an
maybe
individual, we need to have that skill to do it. Right?
so maybe to handle this, maybe the first thing is here is the use scope where we can talk about the life expansion of the products. And second thing is what we can deal with this problem is we can design in modules. Let's say in this screen, if someday maybe the sound system is not working properly, so I can just remove the sound module and then we'll plug in the new one. So maybe small chip like other drivers. So you just imagine if we are using desktop also. So after 3, 4, 5 years, they are replacing recently in our department, I think more than 200 systems replaced. What will happen? The outer part, body, and nothing is going to happen. So only the inside system, we can remove those modules and plug in new modules, and maybe we can limit that waste in that way also. So
this is a big area of research. I mean, this modularity and this design for serviceability, repairability has been there for
yeah,
many
it's
years,
there.
but now we have moved.
But the thing is how
moved
we can
away
implement.
also because of these things. No? So
Things are there for collection also, things are there for everything, but how much we are doing that? You just see how nowadays the trend is every 2 or 3 years we are changing mobile phone. You just imagine 2 and 3 years is the age. So how much waste we are, what we are doing with those old mobiles. So
What you are saying, in PSUs also now, there are a lot of PSUs still go by that L1, so they are also dictated by the price.
lowest, yeah.
So you might have options, and you actually look at the TCO
concept and total, you know, but
is also very dangerous in many ways.
but what happens is they have got those, you know, kind of mandates, SOPs. So if you look at that, totality might be, you know, there are options of model, but you have chosen that product that after some time you have to actually discard it altogether that way. And you are right about those, you know, L1 things, because the supplier also knows कि हमको, they know that इस ये company में हमारा ये चाहिए, तो उसमें मतलब they will compromise on something. So there is a saying na that cheaper goods are dearer in the long run. So there will definitely be some.
That has never happened. So whether this is TCO, things will come. I mean, at least in L1 there is a technical qualification and then the cost. But maybe in that part of technical, the sustainability things have to be included. But public procurement, who is going to touch that? That is so.
Actually, it is not L1. So how they are adjusting the L1, that's why I'm telling you. Because the person who is selling you that product will get the payment in minimum 4 months. Anyhow, he is not going to reduce the price. But the only thing is the other players are phased out, only those are there, and anyhow they will get that.
एक supplier in 3 नाम से दे
Yes,
देता है.
that is the secret. Anyways, our chai wala is waiting. So
Okay, since we are continuing this
Sir, I
discussion
have an
also.
opinion to share.
Yeah.
As we know, in Kolkata, there's a huge celebration of Durga Puja. And the chemical and the paint which is used to make the idol, which is quite harmful. But still in 2021, Durga Puja is enlisted in UNESCO representative list. Yeah. So instead of all this negative after effect on environment, how you know this festival is enlisted on this list?
So उसका evaluation अलग है. They have not studied the sustainability impact.
Suggestion दे सकते हैं कि okay.
Okay, we will continue. There is lot of interesting things to discuss further. I have two papers, and this is. Now we will not immediately start. Today I have enough time, so I will extend a little bit also. Huh? So let's also do some of these things. Then we will go to social entrepreneurship and then iCure. This one I will not go to so much in details since I knew this what was happening in Denmark. So I just slides. Start kurchi. Slide do. Yeah. So again, the key message here is for each of these things, individual companies cannot do much. As I was always saying, even for research, we need collaboration. In this kind of e-waste recycling, Denmark had a project where all the relevant companies were part of that. Right? So they were doing this pilot work. So there are large electronic manufacturers. There is a waste management company. There is another recycling company. Plus there is a platform company who are together doing this e-waste recycling project, mainly to automate that process of recycling and developing technologies for this. So the collaboration in Denmark, it happens pretty well, and these kind of things are needed. It's not an individual company's responsibility because there are so many different things involved. The materials are different, the technological solutions which will come up are different. This clearly you need a logistics partner and so on. This one again, I think there is an NGO which is working. I have seen, I do not know to what extent, what is their reach, but it is primarily within Delhi. This one I will skip. Then a few, this one paper is highly cited, Journal of Business Research. I did not use these cases there, but I was, while writing the process of the paper, we looked at, and then we had a few companies where we looked at what they were doing. This is again an example of how through design companies were improving sustainability and ensuring more recyclable use. So this is a very useful material they were using, which is relevant for Indian context. A lot of agricultural waste, even maybe whether it's stubble I don't know, but in their cases they call kind of tree waste, either old trees or something. Then they convert into a bioresin, and that resin is used to print furniture. So it's not the direct wood, maybe it's a kind of waste wood to resin and then to furniture. And Lenzing and Welspun, you know, so Lenzing was the first one. Lenzing is again an Austrian mostly yarn producer. So they started doing the blockchain for traceability in cotton supply chain, and then Welspun we have seen yesterday. Welspun also moved into that direction. I will skip this part, and this was the part of research I was talking about. So 2017, 2018 I was trying to look at how digital technologies were helping in sustainability and resilience, and we looked at many different companies. We created a list of those, and finally I could manage to contact these four. This was kind of just before COVID, but and then we followed up during the COVID time with the interviews. So these are very interesting companies, and some of them will have relevance for India. The first one I mentioned, this is a coffee company. So, but they are not producers of coffee, but they developed the technological solution to have that traceability in the coffee supply chain. The second one was Plastic Bank, we already saw that. The third one is also very interesting. You don't know, and I didn't know to what extent the problem was there. So in ships also you get the fuel, right? We get all the fuel delivered to the ship for its purpose. It seems that also passes multiple hands from the refinery. When it goes to the ships, it is already sold multiple times because the crude prices are changing so much, and then people take advantage of it. There are a lot of unscrupulous players who are there who mix, who sell adulterated fuel to the ships. And the shipping companies, and when it is delivered to the ship captain or the ship engineers do not have any equipment to really test what is the fuel quality. Even for big shipping liners or even logistics companies. So, this was a big challenge. So, adulterated fuel is delivered to them, and obviously any adulteration for a ship and the ship engine, it is very detrimental to the quality, and many times ship are out of they have to be repaired and they face severe damage. So, and that is a multi-billion dollar loss you can see, but nothing had been done to solve that problem. So, this company, it is called Bunker Tress. So, they had some chemical solution, oligonucleotide or something, they said. They put it in the fuel and they traced from the refinery to the ship when it is delivered. There, with a simple handheld device, the ship captain can actually check whether it is the same fuel or not, which has been delivered from the refinery to there. So, that is the level of traceability, but it is a very, again it seems notorious industry. These all the other players who are there are very powerful and almost like mafia. So, it is very difficult to penetrate, but I think some companies, some shipping companies are already using their solution. So, the other one is even scary for us. Aircraft parts also they are traded by people who have nothing to do with aircraft industry. So, even engine parts, not a full engine, but engine parts are critical parts of aircrafts are sold multiple times. Some old aircraft maybe from a big airlines company, it has already passed few years and gone through enough life cycles. So, they will sell it off. So, that part is, they do not want to use it, they will buy a new spare part or whatever, that part they will sell it off. And then some other small airline, that is why all these airline accidents happen, you see in Nepal and Ethiopia and Indonesia, smaller airlines companies are buying these kind of parts, and there are middlemen who are selling these parts in a kind of grey market for fully for a flying aircraft. Obviously, there are regulations, there are very high flight safety regulations. So, you have to submit, you cannot just sell it like that. All the maintenance documents, history, etc. have to be submitted, but it seems even those are tampered. Sometimes the documents are not submitted, and if the regulation is lax in some countries, they will buy. So, Honeywell obviously is a big player, Honeywell Aerospace. So, then they created a platform where you can actually buy and sell this from authorized players, and they digitized all the maintenance records, and they could see it and have the traceability and matching the buyers and sellers in this, so that you can buy the right parts. And the outcomes were all very good. I think case you can see that the coffee farmers got 20% above the cost of production. Previously, they have hardly got any money. This one also provide end-to-end traceability to the supply chain. So, people like Unilever or others who are buying, now they are fully sure that this is 100% recycled plastic. This case, it avoids the unscrupulous practice of fuel adulteration, and go direct trade also it reduces risk of human error in going through the maintenance documents and removed kind of the spurious sellers from the market. So, what I was more interested is what is the process by what is really needed to make these solutions work, right. So, from these interviews, then it is a simple framework. So, they adopted in this case blockchain, but what are the kind of mechanisms which are needed? Some are technical and outcome based, but this is also beyond a behavioral mechanism. Some of you are kind of psychology and other students. So, this is still many of these technological solutions to work, you involve locals and building relationships. These kind of things are important, and adapting to the local conditions, as we are seeing. Many cases we are saying, oh, whether it works in Indian context, how do we involve the local, any technological solution to make this work. I am increasingly seeing these things are more important, right. Developing user friendly interface or customized solutions, it is fine. Then it will get the impact, but also you need to understand what is the level of information asymmetry, what is the goal conflict. Clearly between players there are goal conflicts, right. Nobody has the same goals. And what is the level of task programmability, means what is the level of detailed task the person has to be done, and how can it be codified and given clear instructions, right. Without those clear instructions, this will not work. So, lot of effort is needed to make any technological solutions work, both on the outcome side as well as on the behavioral side, plus taking into account, that is why these things we call as moderators. So, this will impact the relationship, to what extent, this is what we found out. And for the these are, so we had two outcomes. One is more social sustainability, in this case improving resilience, so reducing quality financial and human error risks. There again two simple things, educating customers and engaging with customers. As we have seen, we have come across these points even in these last 3 days quite extensively, right. Educating customers, we know this, but through these few case studies I could also show that this is relevant. So, this was published, we had 3 papers in blockchain related work, and then this another Journal of Business research paper. Journal of Business research paper I am not going through, the slides will be there, you can have a look. There also I looked at the resources and capabilities for circular economy and digital resources and capabilities for digital transformation. So, many of these small companies, their idea is based on circular economy, right, and they are trying to provide some value to customers, at the same time they are also using some digital resources and capabilities. So, how do together they provide that value and what value they provide, that was what I was trying to see, and what capabilities do they need. So, these 4 companies, that is why I know them well. So, I interviewed them quite extensively, Westware, Plastic Bank, you have seen all of this. Filamenttive I did not talk much. So, they are using recycled filaments for 3D printing. Since I do lot of work on 3D printing, I already knew them. So, this is also a local UK based company. So, for there you have seen all of these companies now. We again created a very detailed framework. So, what are the different resources and capabilities they had, both on the circular economy side as well as the digital side, and how they provided the value and what kind of capabilities. This is more of theory here. So, there is something called dynamic capability theory. Within this we have exploitative and explorative capabilities. So, exploitative means you already have those, you are kind of already exploiting. Explorative is kind of additional new things which you are adding, and some are more adaptive. As things are happening, you are changing. So, you could see what additional capabilities are needed. This is not so much practical, this is more of business research, but those many of you are research scholars, so I thought. So, this is one way when you are doing kind of qualitative studies, finding out the right companies, collecting data, coding those interviews, and then coming up with kind of theory driven propositions or frameworks is kind of important here. So, with this I will stop, and okay, there are few more things I have missed some future research, but there are some interesting, we again discuss these things. This is also one of my favorites I was talking about, right. In textile we have not talked about, there should be some opportunities, and this we have been doing for many years. In Bihar and Bengal, both sujnis and kanthas are quite common, right, but we have not scaled this up. This is still kind of done at a home level, right. So, there should be, and these are quite exquisite products, should be high value, but recycled. In general, the nature is all products are anyway recycled, right. But there are some also additional usage, right. How to improve the market access, this is primarily on the marking side and creating social empowerment, women empowerment. But at the same time, there is a supply chain problem here. How can unused clothes be systematically collected, processed and used for clothing, bedding, and also for relief and for humanitarian purpose, right. So, these kind of studies I think we need to do, and there are some business opportunities around this, I think. So, I have listed some few interesting research problems which you can work on if some of you are interested in this topic. Plus, I have given some other readings. One topic we did not, which is closely related to circular economy, we did not discuss, is called industrial symbiosis. We were discussing yesterday, no. So, the waste stream for another is used as a raw material for others as a secondary source. So, this is called industrial symbiosis. Again, multiple companies are together. It becomes very difficult, even in UK I have seen, it is very difficult for a company to find out who will take their waste material. So, it is a waste for them, they want to dispose, that is why you want to give it to the waste collectors, but they are not the people. There may be some other industry who is actually searching for that material. This is a waste for you, but I can use and process that material as a raw material input. For that matching platform I have not seen, not so much, maybe there are few. And one company gave us a project, for one MBA student did a project. So, even there is a car seat manufacturer, when they make the car seat, there are also lot of waste happens. So, that waste is kind of, this is also polymer material, different kinds of material. So, where those can be used. So, the student did some study what different kinds of potential applications, key rings or other things, even leather bags or different things you can make But it was difficult for a car seat manufacturer to go and find out who is going to take their material and also at a right price, who is going to arrange this logistics. So, there is an interesting problem there. But again, because I lived in Denmark, I know this is very systematic because it is a very small country. So, these things happen. There is a, you can see there is a area called Kalundborg in Denmark. It is famous for this industrial symbiosis. So, all the companies there are kind of feeding from each other. They receive the waste from each other, use it. So, there is a petrochemical company, few pharmaceutical companies, all of them are kind of using each other's waste streams and other things and using it. So, and it has been there for many years. Those kind of even clusters are possible. When we create clusters, we might even think of in that way where the waste or the material can be used. Can it be used in that local area with minimal transportation, right? So, those are certain things I wanted to talk. Okay, we will stop for this part and move on to social entrepreneurship. Which is not really my area, but I like reading about these companies and do have a few papers which is mainly based on iQure because I knew them. And this iQure company, how I found them is also interesting. So, they are in Kolkata, only few kilometers from where we live, but I found them in Denmark. So, they came to a World WHO conference and I attended and I found them. And since then, since 2015 now I know them almost 10 years. You can see they have been doing very exemplary work, little bit you will see in that case study. This is already old, I wrote them in maybe 2018 or 17. It is already old, they have done a lot of work. Now, social enterprises, why government is also pushing is, they know it's not, government cannot do everything, but many of these things can be done by social enterprises where they also create certain impact, and some of these obviously can be profit making, but at the same time they are in a way supporting government's mission, right. So, the objective is to develop into social economical prospering community with lowering level of resource consumption and public expenditure, and they are addressing this. So, what we call in an academic language strategy literature, they call as institutional voids, right. It is not possible from an institutional framework like governments to address every possible need. So, there are a lot of these voids. We cannot do this as a government, they are failing to do. This is where wherever institutional voids exist, some entrepreneurship opportunity comes up, because government is not able to do and these problems exist, can we solve this, right. So, that is why these enterprises come up, and they come up this social change using bricolage and social innovation. So, what does this word bricolage means? Bricolage means getting ideas from different places at a low cost possibly and combining them together to come up with something else. So, it is kind of piecing together that solution broadly. Many of them, as I said, can be for profit, innovative, and new business models are developed, and they are measured on not necessarily profit. So, social impact, the reach and the breadth and depth of the impact and scalability is what is more important for social enterprises, right. And NGOs sometimes are actively part of that network of companies. Now, this paper I read and I found it interesting, that is why I took all the 3 cases from that paper. So, I think I have mentioned, yeah, it is this paper, quality research in organization. It is not a great journal, but the cases are very interesting. Have you heard any of this? Nepra, Piramal, Sarvajal and Garv toilets? Piramal is quite now well known. So, these are 3. Nepra is kind of waste collector, they are not the only one, now there are many such companies, but they have done this, they are quite early and they are quite big now. So, they have many waste collectors, they formalize this as I was saying, and they had facilities for recycling. Plus they also have this refuse derived fuel, so they created a fuel and they sent it to the cement companies, as many of you are saying. Piramal is very interesting, they have this water and also this Suchak system for monitoring and then kind of ATM, water ATM, right. Garv toilets is also similar. One of these is they have this biodigester tank, but they have different models for schools and for women and community toilets. So, what this framework showed, and in our paper also we had kind of similar things. So, the driver for many of these is institutional voids, then they come up, the social entrepreneurial opportunities come up and they create these enterprises, but to create scalable solution they need a equitable platform, they have they collaborate and partnership many of these with NGOs, and together they can create. So, this is a simplistic thing, but from their model again through the cases they showed how this model worked. As we are also discussing, irrespective whether it is a social enterprise or not, scaling up for startups is a big challenge, right, and many of you will be interested in startups or developing or even studying them. So, they always see that there is at some point of time they are not able to go beyond a certain level, or they are currently simply winding up, right, and this is called this valley of death. It is very difficult to scale up and then again further scale and create. So, there are many problems which this kind of companies face, social enterprises even more. So, spending too much at an early stage, if they have got on spending too much time on customer acquisition without the product market fit. So, maybe they have a problem, they have an idea, but whether there is a real need, what is the extent of the market and whether their solution is actually targeting them. People have good ideas, but they are not able to really make that product market fit well. Then again, as I said, building a product without that problem solution fit, adding a lot of nice to have features, investing into scalability before that fit. So, this is all early stage problems. Then once the people have money, then they go berserk and try hiring lot of people, good salaries, lot of VPs, not many people to do the work and so on, right, hiring too many people, early specialists and so on. And then at some stage they focus too much on profit maximization, not adapting the business model to changing, lot of things are happening, and by that time 4, 5, 6 years have spent and they really have not been able to really scale up. Sometimes many of them wind up, right. So, clearly when scaling up there are few considerations which I am not really an expert, but what I have read is this go to market plan also to understand over a period of time, not just for now, but in future how these things will shape up, the roles and responsibilities clearly defined within the team, hiring the team with the right skills, and also analyze. Many of these are digital services, so they should always have a plan of how to analyze the data coming from the services, not just providing the service, but also seeing who are using it so that we can constantly upgrade and improve the service. Test and demonstrate the benefit, we have been talking about it quite a lot. So, the impact assessment is important. For further funding, they want to see not just the numbers in terms of how many customers, but what is it that you have provided to them. So, and attracting external funding at the right time. External funding very early is very also problematic. Right? This is the only operations paper we have seen related to startups and on entrepreneurship. So again, I mean, we study processes. So, this is they said even startups need this kind of processification. It's difficult to say, but if everything is so ad hoc in startups, they don't really follow any process. So, level of automation, segmentation of who is doing what, market segmentation is important, creating a platform, professionalism, culturalization, collaboration. So, they studied a few startups and they came up with certain things which is very tangible and they should do, but these things are missed. It is good to have the idea, you may have fun, but many people kind of do not develop the process, because I mean it is a very entrepreneurial mindset, very people are kind of young people or whoever is doing this, they do not invest time in creating that system, also thinking that if you create too much of process then it becomes bureaucratic at certain point of time, but some minimum level of standardization and process is needed even for startups to kind of go through the early stages. Then we will come to the iQure case. So, we just have, I just brief you or give overview. This is old data, as you said, I wrote the case quite early, but things not of some of these numbers might have changed, but broadly 70% of Indian population still possibly live in villages, average distance to hospital is quite large, significant shortfall, and this is what they found out. Why they started this is we know that in rural health is a big problem. The public primary health centers are there, but not there fully functioning, either the doctors are not there and 9% they don't have any doctor, they don't have technicians, they don't have pharmacists, though everything is there on paper, they should have. But these are severely understaffed. Even IIT hospital, you are not able to recruit doctors, right. So, then what will happen to a local primary health center? Nobody has incentive to go and work in these places. Plus people do not have insurance, and this is they have to travel more than 5 kilometers to go to the nearest one, and sometimes even for a larger district hospital, you can imagine what is the big. So, people have to sell off, and this I was telling why he started this is also he lost his own father, I think. He is also from Mednipur. This is actually IIT Kharagpur incubated startup, iCure. So, but he was working I think in Oracle, IBM, and he had this passion, so he started this. So, they are trying to solve this last mile healthcare delivery, only primary healthcare, but they are connecting for secondary and tertiary needs. So, they run these rural health centers backed by remote monitoring technology. So, they have created a hub and spoke model, as you have seen. So, they have some hub clinics nearby near a railway station where some better connectivity is there, and from there they send their team to the nearby villages. They created proper clusters who will go to which villages are in their cluster of that hub and so on, and they send a team of then doctors and paramedics and others, but they also recruit mostly from the local villages, typically women, and they train them to be, so they give them a device like this now, that time tab, but now they carry a bag and many other kind of medical devices. So, they are going and doing the primary health screening, right. And because even in cities I was saying that people do not want to go to doctors unless it is already quite serious, because they do not know and they have not checked, they do not know what is the situation. So, they are now collecting this regular even basic BP, sugar and other things, and then the data is already there in the system, the doctor can look at it from the clinic, and if there further intervention is there, sometimes they are doing through telehealth some consultation, if needed they are bringing them to the hub clinic, and sometimes they are referring it to other secondary hospitals, and they have some collaboration with others. But over a period of time they have added many different tests, and there are some areas they are focusing on certain things. Mostly they are now doing a lot of maternal health, child health related work, but also other things. So, their system is called wireless health incidence monitoring system, but now they have upgraded, they now have tie up with IBM, everybody wants to work with them, because this is a mine, gold mine. So much of rural population, pharmaceutical companies all wanted to collaborate with him, but he has not said yes to them, because once they get in there they can be very difficult and you will lose trust. Health is such a sensitive issue, it is a very local issue also, they are trusting him and this company. But suddenly if many other companies come in using that platform, they will kind of lose trust. So, he was not very comfortable allowing the pharmaceutical companies to come to his platform, but others, some like eyeglasses and other things they are also doing. So, and this system it works also on very low bandwidth, even if there is no internet, the data can still be there, and whenever the internet access is there you can do it. And they are doing, I have visited, they primarily started from Mednipur, but there are few other parts of West Bengal, but also Jharkhand, Odisha, I think Nagaland and Karnataka some places, but now he has expanded to many parts. You can, if you search Middle Eastern countries, Southeast Asian countries, and when I was in his office in 2017, he got a call from Mexico. Somebody read about him, and one of the states in Mexico, the health commissioner or somebody actually called him up, can you set up something in Mexico? That time he was very small. He said, I cannot even go beyond my district for setting up something in Mexico. This is a local health issue, we do not know language, so he could not. But now they are quite famous, they got lot of funding, he got lot of awards. Now I think he goes to Oxford, MIT, many places. But you can see when he comes, sometimes we can also invite him. He is anyway from Kolkata, but he is originally IIT Kharagpur startup, so he will be happy to come. I can connect you. So there are few questions. So now you can again, like yesterday, let's spend some time work in groups, dividing in yourself who is answering the questions. You got the IQ or case questions, right? It should be there. Let me just show this. Yeah, there were some 7 questions. Let's see how many of these, all of these you may not know. 7 or 8 questions I had put in the original case. Yeah, that is also fine. এটা কি একটু
No, it's visible. Can you see?
Maybe after the session also.
Eta key. So this one.
এইটা এই নিচে এই চারটা this 4 and the bottom 4 ওটাকে তাহলে নেক্সট পেজে করে দিন
Okay, let them finish it and then.
হ্যাঁ
See, after finishing, just you tell me more 4 questions are there. Okay.
total 8, so 4 and 4, but he is now keeping the screen at 4 for online purpose.
Reusable.
And then
Can you put 1, 5 to 8 and 1, 1 to 4? Please?
Double pages.
No, you cannot split it.
Oh.
no, you just see it. But you should have already got this document also earlier.
Questions we have, sir.
हाँ ठीक ठीक है.
So technologically you can't do that, like splitting.
No, this is actual live streaming. No, I don't want to disturb anything.
You are doing 1, 2.
So we are taking 3, 4.
Yeah, I'm already done 3.
Acha.
That's what I was saying.
They want that all questions in one.
That's what I was saying. You putting in one page, next page, everything will come.
He is asking for splitting this to here.
हाँ.
Read 1 to 8.
Oh, 3, 4 done.
3, 4 you have done.
3 done.
Oh, no, you have to do
3,
2 now.
4. Then you are doing 7, 8, 7, and 8. 5, 6.
But you are taking 1, 2 now. If they are doing 5 and 6, but हमारा तो सबसे difficult हो गया. लोग आधा थोड़ा ले लिया.
That is the difference between student and professor. को ही सबसे ज़्यादा दे देंगे ना आप. हाँ. हाँ यस इसको गूगल में ना इसको जूम इन तो फॉन्ट चेंज हो रहा है इसको जूम The case also, then I can show it here, then I have to remove the questions.
Sir, I'm not.
Then I have to scroll down.
your father's age basically. I was talking to a doctor for the medicines.
Oh, okay. His age is 86.
86.
Did you get the other details, the 2 medicines and the condition? We can start with the earlier questions. It will take time. So, maybe even in the afternoon session we can continue, right. So, since I am only taking. So, if you want to start, maybe the first 2 questions we should discuss, first 2 or 3, then we go for lunch, then we can also start little early today, 3 o'clock. Yeah, it takes time. So, post lunch discussion is needed. So, first 3 questions maybe we discuss. बैठ के ही, हाँ।
फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन क्या था, अनमेट नीड ना सर द so the first unmet need was the lack of access to affordable health care. So basically in rural India people cannot afford the affordable health care. Basically when we are talking from the bottom of the pyramid, and they cannot even address the severe illness at very initial stage. So the basic thing we can go for accessible to the health care. And the second thing is limited infrastructure in rural India. They cannot even get a clinic near to their location. And even if the clinic is available, the doctors are not available. And the second thing is during rainy season or some emergency, they cannot even get the access for the emergency purpose. So the second problem is this. The third problem is the shortage of trained health care. Even sir, recently you quote the example of our institute, IIT Kharagpur even cannot even retain a trained doctor. So when we are talking about the rural India perspective, it is very difficult to retain the trained doctor there. Because of the remoteness of the locality, doctor cannot even stay there. The fourth problem will be the community awareness and education. The rural people do not have proper awareness about the children immunization and the very basic healthcare facility. They do not have any idea regarding that. So the awareness need to be reached there first. And the fifth one will be the financial barrier. They cannot even aware about the healthcare facilities and all those insurance. They do not have that idea. And they cannot even afford the timely treatment. When the emergency goes beyond the imagination, we cannot recover them at that stage. They seek the basic requirement which is not even fulfilling their requirement. So the financial barriers also they addressed. And the affordable and inclusive health, you are talking about the value chain.
Okay, so we have seen about all the problems. So I'll answer the second half of the question, which is value proposition that iCure
iCure
will be
provides.
offering. So first problem was quality healthcare in rural India. So they have addressed that with low cost and with good quality of diagnosis that they can give. Next, they reduced the distance. They worked on the distance and they brought the diagnosis center to the village. And then there were many villages which were dependent on neighboring villages. So again, they solved that issue too. And when we are talking about BAMS doctors, so they cannot provide all those treatments related to tests and surgeries. So they shifted that also, that the villages which were dependent, they added that hub and spoke healthcare where they got more details about how they can diagnose major some issues
yes,
at
something.
initial stage also, which needs trained people, like trained healthcare workers in that particular area only, which can reduce the problem at initial stage only.
It's very affordable also. With 90 rupees, they.
That was early.
Yes,
Now possibly it's something more than 200, but it's still, it is with that they get everything, the healthcare, test, medicine.
And this also gave many other benefits, like leading to employment, because they are training many nurses and healthcare workers also. So that led to employment. And they are following all the guidelines at basic level, that how they can treat patients easily and with affordable rates and everything.
Yeah.
They are also providing, as most of the patients are from daily wage section.
Yeah.
So they are providing
The mic.
They are also providing the daily wage compensation type scheme, like providing the travel cost of the accompanying family member if there is a wage loss. And another thing, they are also arranging the test facility along with that health center, so that in one day itself they get the test result.
Yes. That is a big problem, we know. People lose so many days, they have to almost away from work, and that's the daily, the earnings are lost, right? And for surgery and all, people need to sell off everything and get into huge debt to do this. Yes.
So coming to the second question, which is classify the types of services and benefits which iCure provided. So they are, as my friend told, they are affordable services, the healthcare sector, and they did a good initiative, which is mobile medical unit with the Vadhwani Foundation. With the help of that, it's a moving van where they are distributing the medicines and all those things to the needy persons. And with this, they set up their center near the railway station, so that it will be access to reach and all those things. And they also done a patient survey, like how the patients, they take the sample usually for 25 to 30 years age. To diagnose the problem, like what is the patient, early stage thing. And they also did the early detection of disease, so to save the treatment cost, so that they can have that cost factor. And the another thing, they also utilize their resources optimally. They also have set the doctors for MBBS graduate to set up their clinic as well near the because it will be easy for them. They also offered a competitive salary to provide the
At
doctors.
the same time, you should realize, if I am from a small kind of town, it's very difficult for me to set up clinic in a big city like Calcutta. So they found, he himself met lot of people, identified such doctors who are willing to set up in that area, and they offered that opportunity to them. I think most of the doctors are still with them. They don't need, for each hub there is only one doctor. But that person, if they are living with their family in the nearby area, they don't have to travel to Calcutta or big place cities, right? So that's an opportunity. So all these people, the doctors and paramedics in the initial years, he as an entrepreneur, he himself interviewed and selected all of them, and he found women fine, but sometimes he even hired like people with 18, 19 years of age with little bit of training, because it's a big also income for the family. And so those kind of people who are motivated to learn more, this kind of he recruited.
And they also collaborated with Narayana Health so that they can be continue professional education.
Training of the doctors, yes. I just add a little bit before we go to the third question. There, yes.
When we are talking about the, as she mentioned about the Narayan Healthcare Center, which is based in Bangalore, they basically provide the heart healthcare.
No, they have now everything,
So
multi-speciality.
they can collaborate with more CSR organizations when we are talking it from the value chain perspective.
Yes.
And where they can access to the more resources and
Yes.
they can leverage the more funding.
Yes, they have done that. Now
And,
over the years, they have
can
collaborated
recruit
with
the talent. The retention part is difficult, so they can recruit the new talent, and they can also create some awareness campaign in the rural area.
Yes,
So
that
that
they do
people-
with the help of NGOs.
Yes, sir.
I'll just show few things. Where is my slide? Yes, so value proposition, I think you have also mentioned, so doctor consultation, medicines, diagnostic, in-house this low cost technology, option to this partner hospital is also important, that some secondary tertiary treatment what they can do and within the community, right. So, they can resume work quickly, they do not need to travel a lot. Problems you have all mentioned, so there are, we all know, screening patients early, awareness, right healthcare information at the right time. This one I have not talked about, so that's and it's not so much. We teach in operations management the type of services. So there are different kinds of frameworks. If you look at this is not coming up so well. Something happened here. Let me see. This file got corrupted anyway. So it will be there in the original slide. So broadly, this bottom thing is vacant here. So either it's a remote service or it's a place, the service is happening at the place, right. So it can be remote or not remote. Similarly, benefits type of benefit can vary. Type of benefit either through the product or it's primarily service through access. In this case, it's hybrid in both. So it's partly remote and partly physical. People are going. Similarly, the benefits, some of it is core service, actual doing healthcare, but lot of it is also about access, right. So it's kind of, so they are in multiple places. And if you look at, we normally classify services or products in this. So if you look at product characteristics, it's high volume or high complexity, or service delivery process, it's fully automated or fully personal, on-site or off-site. This is how we normally need to classify services. So in this case, you can see what types of services they are doing. Strategic decision choices, again you can talk, but I will just, to wrap up the discussion now, I will summarize. So choice of location hubs, this is important. Where do they set up the hub locations and what are the spokes, which is the kind of addressable area for them, what kind of technology equipment, this is what they develop. The capacity planning, manpower planning, scheduling, all of this is very important. And this service process interface, finally they are interacting with the people, right. So that's why they were very hesitant to go out of West Bengal, Jharkhand initially, because this area they know, they can speak the language, cultural norms are more or less similar. Healthcare, it's very local and difficult. So this is a choice, this is important. Then people and process, again people recruitment, as I said, recruitment of people was very important, and he as an entrepreneur himself did almost all the recruitment in the first few years. Then also slowly they also realized when they cannot spend a lot of money in creating new centers, right. So even the hub clinics, sometime hub clinics, I think they built some of them, but they were also using NGOs offices or school buildings and so on, and in the villages they didn't build any facility, they were also using. So they had to talk lot with the local villagers, panchayat people, and build that trust, otherwise nobody allows an outsider to come in village and set up like this, right. Plus that's why when NGOs are working, they need to work with the NGOs, suddenly somebody cannot come and do these things. So those things were important. These are strategic choices very early they have to make, and then since I followed them over many years, then we wrote that other paper we will discuss towards how they kind of dynamically change some of the things, right, over a period of time, and how but still always the question was in his mind was, shall we add more services to similar locations or keep the same services and go to different locations, right? That was the main question he was asking me at that time. So we did some work and helped them in that. So we will come back after lunch and discuss the other things.